It's one day before the election, and Zohran Mamdani, as of now, has a 93% chance to win. So how did this happen? Mamdani plans to freeze the rent, implement government-run grocery stores, and has said multiple times that we need to defund the police. He calls himself a Democrat socialist, but millions in the country see him as a communist, including the president.
Zohran Mamdani, 34-year-old Democratic socialist. He's the front
communist, not socialist, communist.
The purpose of this video is to show you how we got here. On the last day of early voting, I went to a polling location and saw a Cuomo volunteer debating a Mamdani volunteer. I approached them and asked permission to moderate. Following the debate, you will see multiple interviews I've done over the course of the last few months that will leave much less mystery as to how Zohran Mamdani will likely become our mayor. Welcome back to the Nate Friedman Show.
I'm trying to understand his side. I've heard a lot about what a great agenda he has. All sounds great to me. As a New Yorker of 20 years, I love the city. I think it's great. I think it can always be better. And I believe that Cuomo has done a lot. He's created, HUD, housing development. He's actually good for many people. I've been canvassing Harlem and the Bronx, and many people there believe in him and they really like him. And the community that, Zohran is trying to help is actually saying they're good. Cuomo's done good by them. They believe that he's helped them, and he will continue to help them. Rent-stabilized housing is a positive thing that he's done. He's created, the Second Avenue subway. He was instrumental in doing that. He's given to the city. He's not the greatest, most likable guy. I'm not loving Cuomo like people love Zohran. He's charming. He smiles. He's happy. He's optimistic. I can say wonderful things about him and who he is, but I don't think his policies will work. I don't believe that they're all ideals that appeal to people. But, I've lived here for 20 years. It's not possible.
Okay. So I think both sides, from what I've done on the street, both sides agree, actually, that Zohran is incredibly charismatic and he's a likable person. What both sides have not agreed on is his policies.
Sure.
So do you want to make a note about why his policies will work?
Yeah, absolutely. I'm just a volunteer. I don't have the most knowledge and experience in the world on this. All I know is that I feel a squeeze here. I work 2 jobs. I live paycheck to paycheck. So do most of my friends, my partner. We love this city. We, some of us are born and raised New Yorkers. I myself, I'm not. I've lived here for 6 years. I want to stay here for the rest of my life. I want to build a family here and build a life here. And looking down the road in the future, the only way I see that happening is with a no-cost childcare, the free buses, the city-owned grocery stores. These are all things that can reduce the burden on folks like me who are working 2 jobs just to stick around. And I live in a rent-stabilized apartment as well, and so that rent freeze would be incredibly helpful in terms of helping me and hundreds and thousands of others like me stick around.
I know a primary concern is that you will likely see, at least from data, that if millionaires don't want to be taxed to 52% and they decide to leave, the concern is that the museums and a lot of the things that New Yorkers enjoy will not prevail because it won't be as well funded.
I don't necessarily think that's 100% true. I think making the city more affordable is going to allow more people to stay here and build jobs and build lives. And I would rather have more regular everyday people here, working class people who are able to stay here, live a life, build a life, and then donate. Have disposable income to donate to Lincoln Center or to donate to the museum or to donate to whatever cause they see fit, rather than having to rely every single day on a wealthy donor class, and then we have to bend to their whims of like, I'm not going to give you this donation unless you put this programming up. That's not a good system. I used to work for Lincoln Center, actually, and the amount of groveling and getting down on your knees for these people that you have to do just to keep one of the greatest arts organizations in the world running is kind of embarrassing.
Sorry,
go ahead.
I don't like the word "these people." I live in New York for 20 years. I've worked to get into a certain level. We give a lot in taxes. We give a lot in charity. And I have friends who've left for Westchester, Connecticut, Long Island, New Jersey. We have choices. We can go. There's a certain point we also get squeezed out in terms of, the city becoming unaffordable. And taxes are a big deal to people. To say, those people can pay, these people can do that, those people. I don't think that's very respectful on your end to certain tax bracket, those people.
Well, I apologize for that. But we've already seen time and time again, donors like Bill Ackman who are funding Cuomo's campaign, also funded Trump's campaign. He's already spent more money trying to stop Zohran than Zohran would ever tax him. These programs are for everybody. They're not just for the working class. I think, she said, they have options. If they don't want to live here, they can go somewhere else.
Sure.
But I kind of don't have that option.
Everybody has an option. Everyone has an option.
Yeah, sure, absolutely. Sure, let's have this conversation.
Yeah.
This is very necessary.
So even though wealthier people have options, those options have consequences to New York City. The top demographic of New York pays for 30 to 40% of taxes, if not higher. Already, you've had a huge decline of millionaires leaving the city. If more leave because of Mamdani's policies, he will not have the budget to implement any of his changes. And it's very, very likely that people will move. Okay, the highest tax bracket in New York is taxed at 50%. Where is our incentive to work harder if we're going to tax more? And we will move. And that's very dangerous. We love New York. I was born in Brooklyn. I've spent my entire career in New York. And Mamdani is going to hurt the parts of the economy that absolutely undergird the ability of New York City to pay for services. We saw what the subways and the streets looked like just last week. There's billions of dollars of infrastructure that needs to be fixed. You could build more housing, but if the streets are flooding, it's not a good place to live.
Do you have a response to that?
I believe that Zohran wants to support public transit as much as he can. Fast and free buses is a big cornerstone.
But it costs money.
I understand, sir. And I believe that his ethos would continue into the subways and help him rebuild them. That Second Avenue subway has been a plan for over 100 years, and there's been slow movement on it. So if we have a pro-public transit candidate like Zohran, I see the Second Avenue subway expanding. I see the bus networks getting faster, better, more frequent. I just don't see that with any of the other candidates in the campaign.
Cuomo's actually the one who got LaGuardia rebuilt, and now it's close to a second world airport, and we need continued investment in infrastructure. But if the basic plumbing of the city is failing, and the basic plumbing of our finances gets worse, Mamdani could have the most ambitious, noble goals, but it will not be able to be implemented. He also has zero experience. He's never had staff of more than 5 people. He's 34 years old, and he's surrounded by committed democratic socialists who don't even believe in the capitalist system. New York was America's first capitalist, open society. That is why New York has thrived for 400 years.
A question I have for both of you, and before I let you go, is that it looks like Mamdani is going to win. Just to be honest with you, it's at a 96% chance on Kalshi that he's going to win. How did we get to this point, right? So a socialist has not ever run New York City before, and now it's likely that a Democrat socialist. Okay. I want you guys to both clarify for the country how we got to this place. Do you want to go first?
I think we've seen, especially young folk like myself, we've seen the failings of the system. I don't have a positive 80s Reagan era, positive 90s Clinton era to look back on. All I've seen since I was born is war, death, destruction overseas, and an increasing wealth gap here at home. It's time for a change. It's time for something new. It's time for something different. And I think a lot of people are like, he's too ambitious. Nothing's going to happen. Hope, belief, it's not about getting everything done on day one, but it's about building coalitions together and making something happen that hasn't been able to happen in this city, in this country, in this state, in this world for a really long time, if ever. So that's what I believe in. I believe in hope. I believe in change. I believe in something new. And it's exciting to believe in something. I was talking to one of my fellow canvassers earlier. I haven't believed in a single election since I turned 18. I am, reluctantly going to the polls, voting for the lesser of two evils. I was so excited that yesterday I could vote for something that I actually believed in.
Okay. What's your response?
If Mamdani wins, first of all, we have been partly here before. Okay, Bill de Blasio was very close in some of these policies, and our finances in New York were decimated. We need leadership that's closer to Bloomberg than de Blasio or, God forbid, Mamdani, and unfortunately, the city will suffer the consequences. I lived a few years in San Francisco, and you had governments in the city move to the left, until the pendulum swung back. And the city has now elected a moderate, and things are getting better. It's unfortunate if Mamdani wins. I think we'll see more empty storefronts. I do not think he'll be able to deliver on the housing. Landlords are not going to renovate if they can't raise rent. And you'll see flight of the wealthy and most productive segment of New York City leave, and that will decimate New York's finances. I don't want to leave. I want to stay. My daughter's in a great school. I love New York as much as you do.
So you will leave if he wins?
I'm not sure.
Okay.
I don't want to leave. Okay. I will watch carefully and see. But if security gets worse, okay, I don't care if he's changed his tone a little. He's talked about defunding the police. He's talked about stopping NYPD cooperation with the world's most expert anti-terrorist experts, Israel. If our streets become less safe for my family, we might not have a choice.
And I will say one more thing.
Yeah.
It's ironic to me that the people that are most optimistic about him, and as this gentleman was saying about excited about him, it's the demographic that actually has benefited from all the wonderful services New York has provided so far. The people that can afford buses and trains to their jobs. I don't know why, and no offense, I don't know why the youth are so sad and so upset. You came to New York with a dream. You worked for Lincoln Center, which is one of the most incredible organizations in the world. You have rent-stabilized housing. You're safe. You came to New York with a dream. I get it. Everybody.
The dream didn't involve living paycheck to paycheck on 2 jobs.
But that's everywhere. We should all, please God, make tons of money and live well. But not everybody's entitled to what they think they are.
I believe everyone's entitled to a dignified life.
Exactly. And so what is
And I
not
think
dignified?
Zohran will provide a dignified life for more New Yorkers. That's at the end of the
Dignified
day.
is when, you're entitled to safety. You're entitled, people here, there's so many incredible services that are currently offered.
Yeah.
And I just feel like the bleakness of the youth is just oversold. Look at the positive. There's so many great things
There's
that
a lot of
are
great
offered.
things here, but there can
There's
be a
such
lot.
a good life.
Things can be better.
New York already spends more per capita on public services, on welfare, on education than any other city in the United States. There's no more money to keep paying that, and if the people who pay the taxes are not believe they're going to be safe, they're going to leave, and this city will get worse. We've seen this in many, many other cities around the world. And so you can't have, unless you believe in pure socialism, which has failed everywhere that it's been implemented. Pure socialism means former Soviet Union or Cuba, where you have free supermarkets but the shelves are empty. And that is not going to make anybody happy.
Yeah. But I don't think Zohran has proposed anything.
He has.
Well, there's the government.
He
The government-run
has.
grocery stores, one in each borough.
Well,
not to put the private
And you
sector
think
out
those
of
are
business.
going to work well?
We'll see. It's a proposal. It's a
Hasn't
pilot
worked in
program.
Minneapolis.
It's a pilot program.
Yeah.
Minneapolis is a different city than
Let's
here.
all agree that we hope for the best.
Yes.
Okay.
I hope for a New York everyone can live in and be happy.
Listen, we all love New York, and that's
Yes.
the bottom line. It's just we differ on how we get
How
there.
we get there.
Absolutely.
What's your name?
You're in Nate Friedman.
Yes.
I've enjoyed watching some of your
Thank you. I appreciate it.
I mean, I'm a Democrat.
Sure.
I agree with much of what you say. Maybe not.
But
the
some, not
most
everything.
explicit.
Okay.
Some, but not everything. But that's good.
Yeah, that's great. That's fantastic.
And the fact that even though we don't agree,
Yeah.
I listen to both sides. I listen to what everyone says.
Yeah.
Now here are 2 voters I spoke to over the summer, and pay close attention to what they say because it does continue to show how exactly we got here.
I voted for Mamdani.
Okay. Can you tell us why?
I'm just looking for someone new and not part of the established Democratic Party.
Sure.
Who also hasn't been accused of sexual assault.
Yeah. I know there's like, I spoke to the other side a little bit. They're concerned about like the government-run grocery stores and the free buses. What's your response to
Totally.
that?
I think government in the U.S. is great in the sense that there's always balance, right? Like, no one person is making all the decisions, and so I think there'll be balance within, and I trust our government structure to have some balance within itself to kind of meet in the middle for these things.
And is there anything else about Zohran that you like?
I just think his energy is new and different, and I think that's what we're looking for in this country, and a little bit of diversity in our politics as well.
So he describes himself as a Democrat socialist. Like, do you feel like socialism would work in New York City?
No, not necessarily. I think we are very well ingrained with the current political structure, but I think his ideals and going towards that ideal is a good direction.
Zohran,
Oh, tell me why Zohran.
because he's the only candidate whose politics don't bother me to my core.
Okay. What bothers you to your core about Cuomo?
Where can I start?
Anywhere you like.
The fact that he's a sex pest, that he is corrupt, that he put Republicans on the legislature when he was in office constantly, that he tried to block de Blasio's pre-K for all I could go on.
Yeah.
He's been a crook since he started.
Yeah, I spoke to some other people that they have concerns about Zohran, and I want you to kind of knock those down. So one of them is like the government-run grocery stores. What are your thoughts on those?
I think that's fine. It's a small program he wants to do. It's about.
I know, like, I'm seeing what Republicans are saying on X, and they're concerned about like the him giving money to transgender healthcare in the city. Do you care about that?
I have never once cared about that. I mean, insofar as that, like, is this a problem?
Yeah.
I've never once cared about such things. No.
He describes himself as a Democrat socialist. Do you believe that socialism can work in New York City, given that it's the financial capital of the world?
I've said this before. I get to say this on camera. I'm very excited. I don't consider myself a socialist, but I think what the city needs and what the country needs is some socialism right now. I think that there's too big a discrepancy between the haves and the have-nots, and the way to do that is like a big wrecking ball of financial, like economic equality coming in from the top down.
Next up, I interviewed a couple outside the early voting line with Zohran stickers.
I know he's controversial for some. They're saying that it'll force millionaires to go out of the city and they're paying the majority of the tax. What do you say to those people?
I think that's baloney.
I think millionaires tend to not pay taxes, don't they? They tend to avoid paying taxes.
Yeah.
That perhaps you or I could not successfully do.
And what about the government-run grocery stores? Do you think that that's a model that could work?
Yes.
And
I
why?
think there's too many hungry people and too many potatoes here that are $5 a pound.
Yeah, you got to lower the prices. Is there anything else about Zohran that gets you excited about him?
I'm excited that he gets young people excited, and I'm excited to see people standing in line, hopefully, to vote for something new.
And last thing, the number one comment I get on some of my videos is that socialism doesn't work. It's been tried many times. Why do you think it'll work?
This isn't socialism he's talking about, social democracy. You know, government should work to encourage people to thrive and be successful. Everybody thrive. It shouldn't be a matter of it should be equality, not supremacy. It should be a matter of bringing everybody up and not just having a few people with entirely too much money and too much decision.
Next up is a topic that's been getting an increasing amount of attention. Jews voting for Mamdani. A viral tweet reaching 6 million views from Aaron Wexler put Jews for gas chambers over a picture of New York City Jews for Zohran. So I spoke to a Jewish person voting for Mamdani at the first No Kings protest and a woman canvassing for Cuomo that had some things to say to Jewish people voting for Mamdani.
What's the name so that people can learn about it?
New York City Jewish Elders.
Okay, perfect. Who do you guys want to win as mayor? Just curious.
I'll probably vote for Zohran first, but you know, Zohran or Lander.
And I know he mentioned that he doesn't recognize Israel as a Jewish state. Do you think that that's like okay?
No, I mean Israel is a Jewish state.
He said that he recognizes Israel as a state that he would like it to be a state with civil rights
with
for
full
all.
equality.
Okay.
Yeah. But I think a lot of us, I wouldn't say all of us, are not Zionists.
Yeah.
We don't believe the route to Jewish safety is by having a Jewish state that is built on taking lands from other people.
Yeah.
And that doesn't give everybody who lives
Well,
in that
when they say from the river to the sea, Palestine will be free. What should happen to the Jews living in Israel?
Well, I think the large majority, and any Palestinians I know, it just means that everyone living in that whole territory should have equal rights.
Do you think that Hamas could coexist with Jews in Israel?
I can't answer for Hamas. I think a lot of people living in Gaza can. I'm not going to say what the Hamas leadership would say.
My parents came from Romania. It's a communist country, so I think anyone who actually didn't grow up with a silver spoon like him knows it's not so.
Have you seen Sliwa voters converting or no?
I've gotten Sliwa voters to convert either based on they say they're holding their nose but they can't vote for Zohran, or they were really angry at Cuomo for certain specific reasons. But they're like, but I loved his father and I can't stand Zohran. And I was like, then just do it for New York. And they got that message and they were like, all I say to people, because a vote is very sacred, but I say to them, your vote is sacred, it's your vote, I'm not going to tell you what to do, but please have an open mind and think of New York. Because he says it as like a soundbitey way, but he alienates a lot of New Yorkers, including rich people, police officers, Zionist Jews, which someone today said to me, you're a Zionist? Like as if it was like a curse. They obviously don't understand what that means. And Zohran is very anti-Zionist, so I'm a devil then. Do you think I'm a devil? Ah!
Do you think that Mamdani is anti-Semitic?
Yes, most certainly. But I'll tell you why I think he's anti-Semitic. You want to know something? I started out saying some of the things he says is anti-Semitic. Then I moved to he says and does things that are anti-Semitic. And I recently changed my position to he is anti-Semitic. I'll tell you why. Many examples, but his obsessive focus on Israel, which he's never visited, without mentioning any other country that was formed at the same time or similarly partitioned after the Ottoman Empire collapsed. People don't know what I'm talking about because they're not educated. That's not their fault, but he's manipulating that. Unless he's really stupid, but he's apparently a smart guy. And then people say the only reason he's talking about it so much is because they're asking about it. They're asking about it because until recently, that's his only experience was anti-Israel. He didn't have other experience until 3 years ago, unless you count working for his mom or rapping, okay? Secondly, the video that's come out recently where he basically blamed the IDF for police brutality in New York. Someone like me who studied anti-Semitism and the history of the Jewish people extensively, I don't have a PhD, but I guarantee you it's related to my work, my lifelong work, and I'm the granddaughter of survivors. That's a classic anti-Semitic trope where even if the IDF trained them in counterterrorism, saying when the boot of the police is on the neck of New Yorkers, the IDF laced it, 100%, no matter how many Jews for Zohran tell me that's not anti-Semitic, say, no, he looked at someone dead, this video is... It is anti-Semitic, and I'm a Jew, and I'm done with people telling me what is and isn't anti-Semitic.
So why are many
No
Jews...
other group would ever deal with that. With Mahmoud Khalil saying it's manufactured hysteria. Yeah. My daughter's at Barnard. It is not manufactured. She sent me one picture, poster, video every day of a specifically anti-Semitic comment or incident.
Okay. And so why do we see a lot of Jewish people in New York voting for Mamdani?
Okay. Few reasons. Getting a lot of thought. One, I will say to my Jewish brothers and sisters and allies, I respect you to practice however you want. If you want to just be a cultural Jew, a social justice Jew, you're entitled. But that then you cannot speak for the Jewish people, meaning people who feel that in addition to being a New Yorker, in addition to being, as my grandparents were, citizens of another country, in addition to being Syrian Jews felt that way in Syria, in addition to German Jews, we are entitled to feel as 2% of the population. Ask people how many Jews are in the world. They think billions. We're 16 million. We're always persecuted. We are allowed to have a tiny little piece of our ancestral homeland. That's our insurance policy. They don't get that for whatever reason, whether they didn't experience anti-Semitism the way my family has, whether they're not as knowledgeable about Jewish history, or there's that their liberal identity is so important to them that they feel the need to ally.
Why Mamdani?
He's like the best candidate. He actually cares about New Yorkers. He's not funded by billionaires like Cuomo is.
Right. Any of his policies that you like?
The fast and free buses I'm very excited for. The rent freezes, which I think is going to benefit everybody.
Totally.
And what else? The universal child care, because a lot of people are struggling with paying for their child care.
Yeah. Is there anything else that you like about him?
Well, he's a South Asian, just like myself. Yeah. Plays with identity politics pretty well. Muslim. But again, the main selling point is the policy. That's why a lot of people went out and went door knocking for him.
Next up, I spoke to a gentleman that had some predictions about what is to come if Mamdani becomes mayor.
I don't agree with a lot of what he believes in.
What's one example?
Supermarkets run by the city. Mm-hmm. Minimum wage is at $30 a person, which eventually will just cost jobs. They won't actually add jobs; they'll decrease the number of jobs.
Yeah.
That's I think played out in California and a lot of other places. So he's a socialist. I just don't think that. Yeah. I mean, socialism hasn't really been successful anywhere in the world.
It doesn't have a great track record.
Right. So why is it going to work in the city like this? And all the people, basically the top percentage of people who live in the city pay, I don't know what the number is, 50 to 70% of all the taxes. So if you're going to drive those people out, you're going to end up in a worse situation with fewer jobs, fewer dollars for infrastructure. So I feel like we need someone who at least is competent. He may not be the most morally upstanding person in the world, but at least I feel like Cuomo knows what he's doing. He knows how to run things. So it's a pretty bad choice, though. I'm not trying to sugarcoat it, but it's a pretty bad choice.
Thank you so much. I appreciate your time. Bye-bye.
Finally, I had a conversation with a woman in Brighton Beach, which is a majority Russian and Ukrainian alcove of New York City. There are many people there who fled communism, so I was curious about their thoughts on Mamdani.
Are you voting for Cuomo or Mamdani?
Cuomo.
Why Cuomo?
Потому что он не любит евреев, а я еврейка.
Mamdani doesn't like Jews?
No.
Откуда вы?
From Odessa.
Okay. When did you move to?
30 years ago.
30 years ago. What is your opinion of socialism?
I don't like it, communism. That's why I'm here. No, now maybe it will be here, communism or socialism.
Why don't you like communism?
Because it was difficult. It was anti-Semitism. They don't like it, Jewish people, and it was very difficult in Russia.
How is communism related to anti-Semitism? Why do they come together?
It was very difficult to have work. It was very difficult to give our children to go outside on the street. They can tell them Jews, Žid, and like this. This is I don't like. That's why I'm here.
Yeah. Do you have an issue with Mamdani being Muslim or just that he's communist? Or I should say socialist?
For me, this is the same. Communism and
Communism and socialism is the same to you.
The same for me.
A lot of people say they're different. Why is it the same for you?
For me, it's not different.
Why is that?
Because this is the same politics, the same thinking ability, everything the same.
Yeah. Are you going to vote?
Yes, I voted.
Are your friends?
Yes,
Are you already voted? Okay.
By myself, I voted.
And do you feel that other people are going to vote as well here in this neighborhood?
Yes, yes.
Are they voting for Mamdani or Cuomo?
Against Mamdani.
This area.
Against.
Okay.
Nobody wants him.
Okay, for the same reasons?
Yes.
Thank you for watching this episode of The Nate Friedman Show. I hope the debate and interviews gave you some context as to how we got here and what is to come. On your screen is an episode where I exposed a professional protester with ties to a U.S. senator. I'll see you there.